Hello, knitters. Barbara Benson here, and welcome to the first live of 2024. We're here at the tail end of January. We're trying this out on a Sunday. I don't know if Sunday's going to be a good choice, but it's always good to try new things, and eventually we will hit on the best option for us as a collective, a group. Welcome. Please feel free to chat in the chat. Tell me hi, tell me you're here. Let me know where you're from. Typically the chat is going a little bit faster by now, but maybe I have something set incorrectly because YouTube frequently does that to me. But we really need the chat to go so that we know what to talk about. If you have any questions or thoughts or ideas or anything like that. Hello, Elizabeth in Texas. I'm so glad you're here. And hello, Debbie in Wisconsin. It's cloudy there. Well, it's dark here, so I don't know if it's cloudy. Hello, other Barbara. I'm glad Bethesda. I'm going to assume that's Maryland. Welcome. I'm so glad that you have joined us today. I'm just going to wait for a little bit more for people to roll in. What have y'all been working on fiber art wise? Do y'all have any new techniques that you're wanting to learn? Like I did that Fave 5 of techniques, small projects with techniques you can learn, or maybe a new craft or new fiber art. I'd love to hear what you're thinking what kind of mischief you might get up to in the new hello, Diane in Seattle. Hello, Linda, rainy Virginia. Oh, I hope it doesn't get too muddy. Oh, Debbie Welsh. Debbie Welsh said she's working on a Stephen West shawl. Hello, Tracy in Kansas. Tracy, I just responded to you in the Facebook group and on your question about the yarn from Big Yarn Beautiful Lace Knits. And we can get further into that since you're here. That might make life a little bit easier. So the Stephen West shawl, is it one of his mystery knits, or are you working on just one of his shawls? His shawls, they really run the gamut from completely really laid back to absolutely bonkers. So that's fun. Cotton dish towels are always useful. They're great for washing your face. Hello, Daniello in Ontario. Yay, Canada. So we have our first international person. Second international person. Hello, Jonna. Hi, Joke. I'm so glad you're here and you were able to join us. It's been second international person. Hello, Jonna. Hi, Joke. I'm so glad you're here and you were able to join us. It's been a while since I've seen you. Maybe I'm hoping that this Sunday time is a better time for you than the Thursday was. Hello, let's see, Lily Bay in Maine. Toe up socks. It's winter. You do your socks. I know sock knitters love knitting those socks. I am not a sock knitter. The Bronx. Hello, Adia. Adia? A-D-I-A. Ada? I don't know how I would pronounce that. I'm sure I've hit around the general vicinity. Snowscape shawl. Okay, I don't know that one. I'll have to go look it up. Hello, aloha in Hawaii. So how many hours behind? It's like midday for you, if not in the morning, I guess. So thank you so much for joining us. It's so fun to see all these. Hello from about to be snowy and windy Nova Scotia. Snow, better you than me. I am not a snow person at all. Oh, yay, Adia. I was like, how many? It's only 4 letters, and I was trying to figure out how many syllables I could possibly get out of just those 4 letters. Hello, sunshine. Oh, well, goodbye, sunshine. You don't have to retract messages. Don't worry about that. You were Zooming with your US. Okay, Jonna, joke was... Oh, thank you so much for joining us. Hello, sunshine. Okay, I'm so excited that y'all have joined me. We'll see how this Sunday works out. If it doesn't work out particularly well, we can work on finding a better day for everybody, or maybe switch it up. The thing is, it's hard to switch it up because people like Joanna here, joke, she was like, she had her, some people have like standing like dates. So if I move it around too much, I mean, people, I want to be your standing date. And if you move around too much, then it might start conflicting, and I don't want people who are used to coming to have problems. So yeah, I don't know. It's hit or miss trying to figure out. Hello, Gail in Maryland. You're knitting a stuffed animal. Those are so cool. Shout out from Northern. Hey, Darlene in Northern Virginia. So we got regular Virginia and Northern Virginia. I wonder if we have any West Virginias. Spring ranunculus. That garment, it is astounding. That one, and I think it's called Love Note. The number of different yarns that are successful in those patterns is just mind-boggling. I mean, I've seen people knit them in everything from lace weight to bulky weight, and they all look fantastic. So I don't know what kind of magic those particular designers worked to make those garments work in such a wide variety of yarns, but it is pretty darn amazing. Hello, Sarah Jo. I'm so glad you joined. Um, Jean, 5 hours difference. So I'm laughing, Jean, because honestly, ladder back jacquard tutorial, I straight up don't even know what that is. So I'm not going to be doing a tutorial on it anytime soon because I don't even know what a ladder back jacquard is. So I would have to do some Googling first to figure out what it is. And I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't even know that it, I mean, jacquard, when I think of jacquard, I think of weaving techniques, but I appreciate the question from you. And if I had any clue what it was, we might talk about it, but I don't even know what it is. I don't know everything. I like to learn about knitting, but there's so many different techniques out there, and I don't have, like, I haven't run into them all. Now it's a new one, so I'll figure it out. Okay. Hello, Crochet Mama, new to knitting from southeastern Missouri, wanting tips and tricks. Well, I have a couple of videos that have tips and tricks, but what we do here in the chat is I try my best to answer like specific questions that people have. The live broadcast is more of a dialogue between me and the chat. I don't have anything pre-prepared, and also the way that YouTube works, it won't cooperate with my software that allows me to show you what I'm working on in my hands. So I can't really do any kind of demonstrations. I'm just talking to my webcam, is the way that works. Hello, Tanya in Queens. So we got the Bronx and Queens. Spider-Man scarf. Is the Spider-Man scarf for you? That is cool. The Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. Good for you, Sarah Jo. Go sports ball. Oh, and we got hello, Victoria in Quebec. Oh, Debbie Welsh, different way. So ladder back jacquard is a different way to catch floats doing color work. So Debbie, I'm going to guess you're saying it's a different way to do, I'm assuming you're just specifically talking about stranded color work. So that again gets into the thing. I do not specialize in stranded color work. I have done it like a grand total of once. I made a Christmas stocking for my son out of bulky yarn, and stranded is not my jam. I do primarily mosaic style color work, which there are no floats. So I don't have, I couldn't even how to tell you the regular way to catch floats in stranded knitting, I'm afraid. I mean, I understand the concept, but it's not something I execute with any frequency. Okay, Joke has a question. Okay, Joke has asked me says that she misses my live from the shop on Wednesdays, and why am I no longer doing that? I no longer work for a good yarn. I made a video about it a little while ago, and it's just that it was time for me to try something new. And I had worked at a good yarn for almost 5 years, and it was, I just don't work there anymore. So since I don't work there anymore, I don't do a live there anymore. And they have chosen not to have someone else do it. So they just, when I left, there was no one to do the live. So instead of having someone else do the live, they just don't do the live anymore. So I miss doing it too. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed interacting with everybody. And I don't know if I can figure out a way to do maybe a small live like that, maybe even on Facebook, through the Facebook group or something in the middle of the day. If y'all would be interested in just something small in the middle of the day, I might be able to have something very specific to talk about. I will think it was easy to do it at the store because I had all these wonderful products to talk about in the store. I don't have, I have, you see, it's a bunch of the same stuff I always have. Okay. Hello, Arnetta. Good to see you again. I'm really excited to be seeing all of these. I recognize so many of these names, and I'm really glad y'all came back. And hopefully we will build back up. I know I took a little bit of a break, but I kind of really needed it. Okay, Victoria Henry has asked me, what's your favorite way to work cables, with or without a cable needle? What is your favorite cable needle? So I predominantly do smaller cables. I can do up to like 2/2 with no cable needle. And if it's a smaller cable, I rarely use an actual cable needle. I do have a video on cabling without a cable needle, and that is mostly what I do. If I have more than 4 stitches involved, or if I'm doing something fancy where like it's the 1-2-1, if there's more than one step involved, I will use a cable needle. I particularly like oh, it's not going to be cooperative, is it? So I really like the J-shaped cable needles, but also this. So this is called a Flox, Flox. It's a small indie kind of product. I think you can get them. Let me pull up um let me pull up this. So okay, so you can find them at yarn stores. I don't know, like, so I just Googled for Flox and it's Flox here. I put it in chat. And it looks like Yarn Stores Yarning for You came up with them. The Farmer's Daughter's Fibers, Quince and Company, the Little Yarn Store, Floops, Flocks, Multi-Tool, something called Star Hollows Yarns. I'm not recommending necessarily any of these stores. I'm just saying I just Googled it and it is hitting a lot of yarn stores. The Fiber Space. Now, I do know the Fiber Space, and they're a fantastic store. They're in Alexandria, Virginia, for my Virginia people here. I don't know where. I know one of y'all was Northern Virginia. I don't know where Fiber Space has them. So if you want to, here, I'm going to link to the Fiber Space one. Sometimes a good yarn has them, but I don't think they currently have them. So it's this. And so this part is bendy, and it's a multi-use tool, and you can use it to like catch a dropped stitch. But I really like using it for a cable needle because you can make it into a straight one, or if you like this style where you got the U, or I frequently turn it because I like the J shape. And the reason why I like the J shape is because if I'm grabbing stitches and dropping them front or back, I put it all the way through and drop it, and then it hangs. So the stitches are in this part and it dangles. I find that I lose stitches when I try to use straight. Now, if you like to knit the additional stitches off of the cable needle, that is when a straight cable needle is going to be preferable. But I do not like to knit off of the cable needle. So what I'll do is I will put the stitches onto the cable needle, drop it forward or backwards, knit the stitches I need to knit, then put the stitches back on the left-hand needle and knit them. I know it's more steps, but I find that it gives me a more consistent tension with the stitches and helps me avoid those little weird, the little gaps that you can get. I can control that a lot better if I do not knit off of the cable needle. Your methods may vary, your results may vary, all those kind of things. But yeah, that is what I really like to do. But push comes to shove, You can also use like a flexi flip, but I find these are too big. So that was the answer. Let's see how far I need to roll up. Okay. So there, Victoria, I hope that answers your question. And about cables. But mostly I do without a cable needle at all. Oh, thank you, Jenna. I'm glad you loved my travel updates. I had a lot of fun. My mother was not very good at it, and she specifically, her friends were like, make sure your daughter at least posts pictures, because my mom is not great on social media. And my mom's friends wanted to see, and I wanted to show everybody what I was doing. I tried to post like every day just so that I was still in contact a little bit, but also just to share. It was the trip was crazy. I don't want to say crazy. It was amazing. It was the trip of a lifetime, and I was so happy. And posting was really amazing because, like, I remember I posted something about Lombok. I posted about Lombok on the Instagram, and like shared a picture of me there, and someone commented on Instagram and said, "Oh yeah, I'm from Indonesia and we're going on vacation there in 2 weeks." And that just blew my mind. It was so amazing. The idea that someone who follows me on social media, who maybe watches my YouTube, but who definitely follows my Instagram, another knitter and I connected, and that I was in the same space as her being from Indonesia. And when I have Australians or Canadians or someone far away that I get to connect with, y'all, it's just amazing. And having that, being that closeness was really fantastic. It was so cool. Oh, Christina is doing her first 2 at a time toe up socks in Ottawa. Good luck with that. Okay, Tracy, is swatch yarn included in amount needed for pattern? So I saw that question on Facebook and a lot of people answered it, so I didn't feel the need to chime in. What I would say about swatch yarn is there's no standard. There's no rule. It depends entirely on the designer. It depends entirely on the designer as to whether or not they have included that. Um, a lot of people said, to be on the safe side, they buy an extra skein of yarn, and if that's within your budget range, it's a good thing to do. But I agreed with someone else who commented that you can always frog your swatch. You do your you want to knit your swatch, you want to block your swatch, but if push comes to shove and you need that yarn, you can frog it and use it. Now, the thing is, if push comes to shove and you're going to need that yarn, you're only really going to have enough yarn to maybe bind off. So you're cutting it very, very close. There isn't going to be enough yarn unless unless you have the exact amount of yarn that you need for that pattern. That pattern is I mean, you're only going to get enough yarn out of a swatch this big to maybe do a bind off. It's not going to give you several extra inches on an arm or something like that. There's just not enough yarn in it, unless you're knitting a ridiculous size swatch. If you like ridiculous swatches, I've knit a swatch that took the entire ball of yarn when I was trying to figure something out for one of my books. So no shade if you use the whole ball of yarn. But yeah, so I hope that answered your question, Tracy. If you're not a Facebook person, I totally understand. That's why I try to have, Darlene says she's not a Facebook person. I try very much to have multiple ways. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm here on YouTube. And those are my social media outlets. I technically am TikTok, but really I use TikTok for entertainment, to entertain me. I watch music videos and cooking videos and those kind of things. I don't really put a whole lot of knitting content on TikTok because I don't think that that's really my space. And it takes a lot of work. I stayed on a couple months. So Joke asked that if I left just after Susan sold the shop. So I stayed on. The shop was sold and the turnover happened in August, late, yeah, August. And I left in October right before my trip. And so I stayed a couple months to help with the transition. is what I did. Okay. Oh, you like my hair? Thank you. I got a little bonkers, and it won't lay down. I don't know. Next time I need to get it like actually like cut way shorter because it's just grown out a little bit and it already wants to curl. Okay. Okay. Do. Oh, Arnetta, you have some of the flocks. They are fantastic for cable. So Darlene is asking, when a pattern doesn't tell you how to knit a swatch for that particular pattern, how should a swatch be knitted? Well, okay, so your pattern should tell you what stitch the gauge is. It should say stockinette, it should say garter, it should say texture stitch, it should say lace stitch. It should tell you what, and like if you have a sweater that has both cables, like a cable panel and a lace panel, they might give you multiple different gauges. So first it should tell you what the gauge is. It'll be X number of stitches and X number of rows or rounds over 2 to 4 inches, however many inches, in stockinette, in garter, in what have you. So the way that and then you just knit a swatch. I have a video on knitting how to knit a swatch. I know I have that. Okay, I typed swatch into my search engine for my YouTube channel, and it had 11 hits. And the one we're looking for is, here we go. How and why to make a gauge swatch. This is old, but we will put it here. So there you go. Essentially what you want to do is you need to cast on enough stitches that you will be able to measure your gauge. If it's gone over 2 inches or gone over 4 inches, you need to be able to measure the gauge without interference of the edges of the stitches. And if the project is knit in the round, then the gauge is provided in the round as well. And unless specified otherwise, if the pattern tells you to block the pattern, then the gauge is given to you as a blocked gauge. So you need to do that. You need to cast on enough stitches so that it's going to be big enough. Like if it's 4x4, you don't want a 4x4 swatch. You're going to want like a 6x6 swatch because you need to be able to measure it. So if it says that it's 24 stitches in 4 inches, you're going to want to cast on like 35 stitches. You're going to want to cast on so it's bigger, and then you essentially just knit whatever it tells you to until you've got a square, bind it off. You can leave it attached. I frequently will make my gauge swatch, but just put a locking stitch marker through the last loop so that it doesn't unravel, and I block it still attached to the ball. I take the ball and I put it in a Ziploc bag and I do it so it won't get wet, and I block it still attached so that I can frog it later because I don't need swatches laying around. But so yeah, you do it, and that's the basic thing. You knit it in whatever pattern they tell you to. You make it big enough that you can measure what you need to measure without interference from the edges. You block it and then you measure it. So I hope, if you need more information than that, or if any of that was weird, let me know, Darlene, and we can do that. Okay, Sarah Jo also votes for J-shaped. Excellent. Okay, Victoria says she has not been a fan of straight needles. She'll try the J. I like the J shape. It's just personal. One of my best knitting friends swears by the one with the bump in. I call it the pregnant one because it's straight with a bump in the middle. She likes that one, so it's whatever you want. Yes, Fiberspace is a really, I haven't been there, but they have a nice online presence, and I've had interactions with them. They've always seemed really nice, and they sell Miss Babs yarn, and that is always a plus for me. You pick them up. So Joe picks them up with a fat sewing needle on one side and knit them from the other. There's so many different ways. You can use a double pointed needle. You can use anything for a cable needle. Okay, Sarah Jo says, I disagree. I like knitting right off the cable knittle, and you find the J shape is better than that. So there you go. Again, everybody's experience is different. And so apparently you can knit off the J shape. I just don't like knitting off the cable needles. So I don't like knitting off any of them, I guess is the issue. You know which side to knit off without accidentally twisting. That's an excellent point. Parking is horrible in Alexandria. That does not surprise me in the least bit. Okay. Joke says she loves seeing my photos, but too many picture foods. I like talking about food, man. I did. And actually, I had a friend of mine, actually Susan from the store, said definitely post about food. So it was fun. And food is a big part of my traveling adventure. I didn't get everything I had on my bucket list, but it was a lot of fun. Kangaroo is delicious. Darlene, I didn't see your travel updates. Where can I view your updates? So that's on Instagram. So while I was on my trip, I was gone for 30 days. And while I was on my trip, I posted photos to my Instagram. That is Tumped Duck. Let me put a link to my Instagram. Pushing buttons. Here we go. There's a link to my Instagram. It's you don't have to go very far back because I really haven't posted a whole lot since then, but I posted a bunch. Sunshine, you're from Japan? Oh, welcome so much, Sunshine from Japan. Japan is definitely on my bucket list of places that I want to go desperately. I was just talking to my mother today about how much I want to go to an onsen. I think that they sound really, really cool. And I was just in like I was in Australia and Indonesia, so I was closer to Japan, and I was so frustrated that I didn't get to Japan. But hopefully that is next on my list. When I ask my son, who is 17 years old, he's junior in high school, where he wants to go, I'm like, if you could go anywhere, if we could go someplace special, where would you like to go? He says Japan. But the thing is he specifically wants to go to Japan so that we can go to Tokyo so that he can go to those multi-level arcades because he's really, really into Japanese video games. So I don't know if we can go all the way to Japan just to play video games, but they're great. So I'm so excited that there's someone here from Japan. That's what I was talking about. It's the best to see everybody. So Tracy says, so to be wise, purchase more yarn. If you want to purchase more yarn, you can. But what I'll say is the amount of yarn in a swatch is not going to make or break. If the amount of yarn in a swatch is going to make or break your project, you're probably cutting it too close. And yes, you need to buy another skein of yarn. Darlene, you only look at YouTube. Well, I'm afraid that it's all still photographs. So my trip photos were all still photographs. So they're on Instagram. I have not put. It's really not. I try to keep all of the content on the YouTube channel knitting and fiber related. It's less. It's more focused. It's just I don't want to get too. I don't want to go too wild. Tanya, your Spider-Man scarf is for your son's my Spider-Man hat. That is all the Spider-Man. Excellent. Thank you for saying my hair is cute, Darlene. I got it. I cut it. I cut it big time. I just wanted to. I wanted to actually, and the funny thing is my mom was like, "Wow, you do have an ear, at least one of them," because most of the time you can't see my ears. Oh, Melanie started a temperature blanket. So many ends. Yes. Any advice for weaving in ends? Weave them in as you go if you're frustrated with them, or just come to terms with weaving in ends. There are people who have techniques like the Weave in Steven from Stephen West, and you can Google and check on YouTube and you can find things. I have not particularly found any of them to work successfully for me. I just suck it up and weave in the ends, unfortunately, because I do like a duplicate stitch method because I'm always very worried that they're going to work their way out. So some things in knitting are just, you just got to do it. Darlene says, I've seen a few patterns that did not provide swatch info. So what I'm going to say to that, and this is not my kindest statement, if you have a pattern that does not give you the information on swatching, then I would pick another pattern because that is information that you need to know. And if it does not provide you with that information, then it is an incomplete pattern, and the odds of you successfully executing that pattern are reduced. I'm not trying to be mean or anything about that. But now, that said, there are patterns that are like gauge doesn't matter. Well, if gauge doesn't matter, don't do a swatch. Just do whatever you want to do. But if gauge matters with the project and they don't give you gauge information, then I would be suspicious of the rest of the pattern and whether or not they're going to give me all of the information I need to make that execute that pattern successfully. There are certain things that are expected in patterns. They need to tell you what kind of yarn you need. They need to tell you what size needles. They need to tell you, I mean, it's just, this is it. This is part of the pattern. And if you've given me an incomplete pattern, I don't see any point in doing it. So that's what I would say. Now, patterns do not tell you how to swatch. You're supposed to know how to swatch. That's just one of those assumed things, which is what a lot of the stuff on my YouTube channel is about providing that information that is just generally assumed by knitting, because how it's like the carry yarn up the side. A lot of patterns will say that they're not going to tell you how to carry the yarn up the side. So that's why I make those videos, so people can find that information and learn that information if it is a gap in their knitting knowledge. So, but if a pattern doesn't have gauge on it, then I don't understand how it's going to work. But who knows? Oh, do. Okay, Sarah Joe, I knit so tight I went up a yarn size and 4 needle sizes. Oh my goodness, that is a lot. So Arnetta says she takes the metro to go to Fiberspace, so that's cool. Hi, Fairy Mama. I'm glad you caught me too. And thank you. That's very nice of you. And I'm so excited. There's sunshine again. Yay! Oh, you know what? Actually, you know what I have behind me? He's my cat. Oh, see my cat? I've got him. And this is my son got me this for Christmas one year from the Japanese department store in Epcot in Disney, and it has the thing and it shakes your heads, and that's what the t-shirts that I have, that's what it are. So I had it redone. So I love Japanese culture. I have a lot of Japanese. I don't know if you can see all these, but all of these are here. All of these are Japanese stitch dictionaries, and I got a whole pile of them. Oh, Singmundra fell over. Puppy M fell over. Hang on. I don't want anything to break. This is quite possibly my most used stitch dictionary. And you can see it's got all kinds of tabs in it. And it's entirely in Japanese. So yeah, I got a lot of Japanese stuff. Puppy N fell down. Back up there. So yes, I love Japanese knitting style. Japanese knitting patterns are a little rough. They assume a whole lot of stuff, but I love the stitch dictionaries. Okay. Okay, I thought I would have to look at the ball band. Yeah, sometimes things are tough to walk. Okay, so another question that Tracy had asked on Facebook was she asked, so in my book, Big Yarn, Beautiful Lace Knits, I, for the patterns, I tell you what yarn I used. Um, and the thing is, they are all, where is it? Okay, so what you're going to get the information is this. See, it says Miss Babs K2, 100% merino wool, 240 yards in 7.2 or 200 grams, right? 2 skeins, approximately 451 yards. All of the yarns in this book are knit in bulky. They're bulky or chunky. Bulky and chunky is kind of interchangeable. Neither of them actually means anything. Like this one says Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Superwash Bulky, right? This is 137 yards in 100 grams. So what I've given you is the name of the yarn, the fiber content, and the amount of yardage per the amount of weight of the skein, and then how many of said skeins you are going to need for the project. Because the reason why I did that, hang on. The reason why I did that is in writing the book, what I found was that the range of sizes of yarn that fall into the bulky or chunky category is really ridiculous. It's not, it is a huge range. You can get anything from the one that I just showed you that's like 190 something, 190, 180 yards in 100 grams down to like 70 yards in 100 grams, which that is going to be the difference between something that's like this big around and something that's like this big around. So the only way to figure out substitutions is to look at how many yards per how many grams and compare those. So, and I know I have a video on it, but I don't know where it is. You have to make sure first that the first one I read you, the Miss Babs one, it was a 200 gram skein. So what you would do is like divide that in half if you're comparing it to something that's, because standard put up is 100 gram skeins. So what you need to figure out is how many yards per 100 grams the yarn I called for has, and then look for a yarn that has close to that number of yards per 100 grams. And that is going to get you closer to the thickness. And again, looking at the yarn, because there's a huge range, because both the Miss Babs, the K2, and the Wool of the Andes are both considered bulky yarns, but the Wool of the Andes yarn is substantially thinner than the K2. K2 is much chunkier. So it's a very large range. It's kind of like they chunked everything into this category of bulky or chunky, and it's the Wild West. It can be so big. There's such a wide range. So that is what you have to look at, is the yardage per, and it's called the grist is what it's called. It's the number of yards per gram that you're looking at for that. Oh, Japanese artists are true knitters. Japanese knitters are true artists. Yes, I agree, Joke. Oh, thank you for asking questions, Tracy. I mean, because it helps me not just be talking randomly about stuff. Yeah, bulky yarn's great. I love knitting with bulky yarn. It's super fun, but it is a little finicky when it comes to substituting. Unfortunately, Joke, I would like it. And Joke has said the bulky is 100 grams and 100 meters. Chunky is 100 grams and 50 meters. One would like that to be the truth, but the thing is um there's no regulation on that, and from my experience, specifically with Western American yarns, whether it's labeled bulky or chunky or what they put in the name, it's whatever you want. They don't it can be it's willy-nilly. It would be nice if it was more standardized, but unfortunately it is not. So it's just that's why I just rely on looking at the amount of yardage that's in there. Fairy Mama says, "Remember to hit like, everyone." Thank you. I thank you for that reminder. Clicking on the like button will maybe share the live with other people and maybe get them to come in and say hi to us, and we can have more knitters. But also, it does help the channel. I really appreciate it. But thank you so much. Um, oh, Japanese embroidery and shishiko, all awesome. Sarah Joe, I like Lion Brand Hometown for bulk yarn, although I haven't used a ton of different ones. I use Lion Brand Wool Ease, which is a acrylic wool blend in my book for one of the pieces in my book. There's all kinds of great bulky yarns out there, and especially if you're going to be the pattern I use the Woolies for, it was a blanket. And if I'm going to ask people to buy like 9 skeins of yarn, I'm going to do my best for it to be, a more cost effective area of yarn. So in Europe, it's standard from the mills. That'd be nice. There are no standards here. As I said, it's the wild, wild west. That'd be awesome to have that standard from the mills, but it isn't there. Are Japanese knitting book helpful? So the books that I have, Sunshine, are stitch dictionaries. So they aren't patterns. It's just bunches of different stitches. They are helpful to me because I'm a knitwear designer, and it gives me ideas and stitches that I can work with when I'm creating my own patterns. They're not particularly helpful for like making how to make stuff. They're not helpful in a creative way, and they're beautiful stitches. And if you already know how to make a sweater, or you know how to customize a sweater or a garment or whatever, yes, they're fantastic, but they don't really have like patterns in them the way that Westerners think of patterns. We are used to a pattern being very much a step-by-step process that lets us know every step of the way what we're supposed to be doing. And most of the Japanese stuff I have seen assumes that you already know what you're doing and you know how to make a sweater. And they're like, here, this is a fun thing that you could do with a sweater that you already know how to make. So they're not as step-by-step as Western patterns. But I mean, that's not a criticism. It's just an observation. I love my Japanese stitch dictionaries, but again, it's because they help me with my creative activities and help me design things using those stitches. So that's what I like them for. But helpful, I don't know if helpful. Like I had to buy this book to teach me. This book is very helpful, still entirely in Japanese, but it has pictures to teach me what the stuff. I had to buy this book to be able to read those books because I don't read Japanese. I can't tell you exactly what these say, but I can tell you that there are pictures and it shows me how to do things. And so it shows me what the symbol looks like this symbol. So like this symbol, if I run across this symbol in the book, it shows me what I need to do to make that symbol happen. So this is an exceptionally helpful for me. But it was at a trade show. It cost me $21 at a trade show 10 years ago. So I don't know how much it costs now. Darlene is asking me what knitting plans do I have for the future. I have a new shawl that it's just hanging out back there. I'm not going to show y'all. It should be released this month. I'm going to do my best. I need to get it photographed and I need to get it tech edited. And hopefully I will get it out by the end of the month. And then I have a new shawl that I need to start working on. And I have not planned any past that. I want to finish the yarn that I've already committed to designing with, and then I'll figure out. I have a cowl that I've been thinking about. It's just more of the same. Nothing new. Nothing new and exciting. Yeah, Joke says, yes, they are sunshine, but most of the patterns are for advanced knitters. Yes, Japanese stuff is for advanced knitters. Hi, Susan Post. I miss your face too, and I can't see you. Welcome. Sunshine, you have those kind of books. Excellent. They're great books. They're awesome books. I love all the books. One of the weirdest books I have, I don't know if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. This is probably the best. If anyone here says they have this book, I'm going to be really surprised because it took me a while to find it. This is a book on Estonian lace patterns, and it's in Russian. I can't, and there's no code to it. I can't read it like at all. It is straight up. I think it's Russian. It's some Cyrillic language that I do not in any way speak. I have no idea what's going on there. And it is really beautiful. But it has some really it has some, like, here, that is all I get for the symbols. This is the symbols and the charts, which is super fun times because I again don't read Russian. And then so yeah, there's a whole bunch. I don't read Russian, but I have used this, and so then you just have a series. This is another Stitch dictionary, and it's just a series of images. Like this one's really cool. And then you go in the back and just wait till you see these charts. This is what the charts look like. So who knows what they mean? I figured some of it out when I first started playing with it. I probably need to revisit it again. There's one that the symbol was N. It just said N. I'm like, what does N mean? There are diamonds, there are squares, there are triangles. I have no idea what this little weird oval shape means. Right there. There's like an oval. No clue. But I'm excited to have it. I'm excited to have that book. Jenna says she misses the online knit night that Susan used to do. Susan's in Ohio now. I don't know. You might want to contact A Good Yarn and see if they might do virtual. I know they're doing an in-person knit night, but you might want to check and see if they have any plans to do the virtual. If you contact info@agoodyarnsarasota.com, they would be able to answer that kind of question. Google Lens. Ooh, Cindy, you coming in clutch with the solution. I had never even thought of that. I might Google Lens that. So Paula LaFontaine, just finishing a sleeve, and while listening to all of you, I'm experiencing my normal indecision. How long? By the way, my live here is at 4 p.m. Okay, so it's a good time for you. Thank you for that feedback that this is a good time. I'm trying to figure out what time is best. I mean, there's no time that's best for everyone, but like we've frequently had Australian people in here, and it's like early in the morning next day. I don't know. I don't know when to do it because I don't want to move it so it's too early. Like if I did it much earlier in the afternoon, it's going to get it so it's super early for people on the West Coast. I don't know. I want to make everybody happy, and that way lies madness. Okay. Okay, Susan. Susan is asking me, where did I find this? I found this on the internet. I bought this many years ago. I think it might have been ABE book. I was very specifically searching for this, and I found it through an online bookseller. I think it was ABE Books. ABE Books. I don't know if you guys have ever used it. I don't know if y'all love books because I love books. ABE Books is one of my favorite when I'm looking for something really kind of like obscure. It's right here. And what it is that it is the database. This looks way fancier. Back in the day, this website was very clunky. I hope it still is good. It's actually like used bookstores. They're used bookstores and that have put their inventory online. And there's another one, I can't remember exactly what it was, but what you're essentially like searching is used bookstores. So I'm pretty sure that I bought this. Actually, I think it came from Europe, if I remember correct. I don't know. I don't know why I was looking for it. Somebody asked why I was specifically looking for it. Don't know. Something I get a wild hair and I go 1:50 a.m. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's so early. The weird looking A is a D. That's good to know. Backward N. Sergio, why was I look for weird stuff, Sergio. I spent a lot of time. There was a point in my life where I spent a lot of quality time doing interlibrary loans from all kinds of there was once that I was trying to find a book and there were only like I was doing the interlibrary loan and there were only two of the books available like in the entire database, and one was on Australia and one came from the Yale library, and I was able to get it from the Yale library. It was it was in bad shape, but I have interlibrary loaned some really wild things. One of my favorite ones that I can't remember, it was I interlibrary loaned this really cool book that was about this woman who is archeo paleo botanist, where she got permission to actually excavate one of the gardens in Pompeii, and the book was a documentation. It was almost a textbook of her research. And so she went into one of them, and it was really cool because what she was trying to do was identify precisely what it was about the gardens. It was a gardening book, what it was. And what she did is, you know, how the pyroclastic flow caused the people to like, how you got those people that were frozen in time. It did the same thing to plants. So this hot ash went through the plants and it burned them out to the root. So what she was able to do was actually pull out that ash, and then she poured metal into it and then dug around it and essentially pulled out a casting of the root system, and could, by analyzing the root system, determine what that plant had been. And by that she was able to like completely recreate, and also based on pollen spores and things like that, exactly what would have been in this Roman garden. It was absolutely fascinating book, but it took me forever to get that book through interlibrary loan. But it was so cool. Thrift books. Oh, that's a good one. Genealogy books. Yeah, it's just the A books is fantastic. I like all kinds of books. Hamilton books, excellent. Hang on, let me. Paleo Ethnobotany. And it's the study of the past human-plant interactions through the recovery and analysis of ancient plant remains, is what she, this woman was doing. So Paleo Ethnobotany, and it's just really cool. Let me look up. I'm just searching for it. I could dig it up again because actually the woman who wrote it was a pioneer in the field, and she was really absolutely, it was amazing. Um, I need to find that information again because I had it at one point in time, but I can't remember. No, brain's not doing it today. um, Hey, Her Dazzling Creations, welcome. I was trying to post it in the chat, Sarah, but I can't find specifically the woman I'm talking about. I would have to do a lot of digging to re-find. I just remember because I don't know. I was fascinated by that kind of stuff. That is where there were some pictures in that book that were really funny. They had garden art. You know, like people have yard art. They had garden art, and I swear there was this picture of this little it was this little, almost, I would think, concrete. It was this little statue that for all the world looked like you could tell I'm from Georgia. Ugga. It looked like a little bulldog. It looked like the Ugga statues, which is the UGA dog, Ugga. I was like, look, it's Ugga. And they had like little statues of dogs. And that's where they had the archaeological evidence for eels. They would put earrings on eels because they had like ponds where they kept pet eels, and they would put jewelry on them, and they found jewelry in the whole book was just absolutely fascinating. It is not Plants from the Past. I'm trying again. This would take me a little bit. I can't remember the woman's name because she did it. It was in the she's really, oh, is this her? I might have found it because she had a really, oh, this is it. This is her. I found her. I found her. I found her. So this is who wrote the book. She passed away in 2007. It's Wilhelmina Feimster-Jaminski. And the books that I'm talking about are The Gardens of Pompeii, The Natural History of Pompeii, and The Gardens of the Roman Empire. So the Gardens of Pompeii, 2 volumes. It was one of the volumes of that I managed to get. So that's it. That's her. She's amazing. She was doing this when women weren't really supposed to be doing it, and I think she is absolutely astounding. Noted pioneer of garden archaeology, best known for her contributions of archaeology in Pompeii, where she focused on the evidence of gardens and worked to help us imagine them as settings for daily life in the ancient city. A trailblazer in the field of garden archaeology and winner of the gold medal for distinguished archaeological achievement. So there we go. Now you know another awesome woman in history that you should learn more about, because she did some amazing things. So I that was a sidetrack. Sorry about that. What year what, Darlene? So I don't know what year you're asking for. The book, when was this book published? The Gardens of Pompeii. I don't know. We'll have to look that up. Here we go on Amazon. See, now you can get it on Amazon apparently. Or not. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. I had to get it through interlibrary loan. The book was published in 1979. I don't know if this is the exact book that I got because it is in 2 volumes. But yeah, we're talking about the late 70s. Her research is being done apparently in the late 70s. It took a long time for them to even allow people to go in and touch this stuff. The fact that she was allowed to do the research that she was allowed to do was really significant because again, like I described, that she poured things up and excavated it was in a way destructive. And a lot of times they don't want things to be disturbed. So it's like there was a guy who was allowed to go into one of the Egyptians' tombs and take a sample of the yeast from when they unearthed a bakery and then use that yeast to actually cultivate. He actually was able to activate the yeast and cultivate it and bake bread using the yeast that the Egyptians would have used, which is absolutely phenomenal. So I like living history. I like it when people are doing things like that and understanding the living history. I watched this really cool if you've ever watched Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat is a really good, it's on Netflix. And she visits in Japan a place that makes makes fermented traditional soy sauce in the old way. And they go into this building and there's these big vats and there's just all of this like whatever the spores are, whatever that is that makes miso, and just looking at it, it looked kind of gross, but it's just fascinating there. And then they were talking about that miso had been made in this facility over this number of centuries and that it's an ongoing culture and everything. And I thought that was really cool. There's just so many neat things in the world. Yeah, mummies are rare because people ate them. That is true. They also use them as firewood. They would use them to keep things warm. So, okay. Joke just asked me, why is YouTube sending advertisements during my live? I am sorry. It is because YouTube has changed the way that things work, and I cannot disable them. They no longer give me, there used to be the option, it used to be that I could select what kind of ads I wanted. And if I didn't tick the box for mid-roll ad, they wouldn't run them. But YouTube has changed that and they have removed my ability to disable mid-roll ads. The only option I have is I can either have choose placement where I manually put them in or do what's best for individual customers, individual viewers. And I don't know how the choose placement works for the lives. So I don't know how to do it and I don't know. So I couldn't not, it would not let me, as I was scheduling the live, it would not let me progress past the point. Like it didn't give me the go to next to schedule until I selected one of those 2 buttons. And those were the only 2 options. There is no option for no ads. I cannot turn them off. It infuriates me. But they don't care if it makes me mad. They don't care. I know it's super annoying. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it shows them. I don't know how it shows them. I'm really sorry it's doing that to you to do joke. I tried to turn it off, but it wouldn't let me. Yeah, YouTube does not love creators. They love money. That is entirely accurate, Sarah Joe. And it's not like they're going to make very much money off of me. I mean, whatever. It's not. There's nothing I can do. Hey guys, did you see my new tattoo? I know y'all haven't gotten a good look at it, but there's my new tattoo. What do you think? It's completely healed now. I know that you've been able to see it in certain videos when I'm like gesturing. but I don't think you can, and especially since this is usually happening, you can't really see. This is my knitting tattoo. I've always wanted a knitting tattoo, but I couldn't figure out what I wanted. And I found an artist I really like the watercolor color style tattoos. I didn't want to do a standard, like there's a lot of standard tattoos, which is cool if that's what you want, but I wanted something that looked kind of unique and different. So it's the ball of yarn, and then just it's what I told her is I wanted it to look like somebody had dropped a ball of yarn and that it rolled, and just to have the I might go and get it touched up a little bit more. She's wanted to wait until it was completely healed. Hello, LPGA. My golfer is here. Whoop whoop. I'm so glad you're here. Um, thank you, Susan. Glad. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So yeah. Um, there are no needles. It's just the ball of yarn. But now that it's healed, and let me tell you, I started questioning my decision about a couple hours in, because the part right here where my arm bends, that really hurt, and it really hurt down here. I kind of wish it continued up, um, but I don't know what I would do further up. And I didn't want to do needles because I don't knit on straight needles at all, and I don't know how to make a circular needle look good. I mean, circular needles are not aesthetically pleasing. Okay, see, Grammy says, "Do I see hearts in the tattoo?" So you know what? That is one of the reasons I might go back. We might talk about. She was talking about doing some more detail work. There are ones that look like hearts, and I don't think that was deliberate, like this right here. I might go in and have her kind of muddy that up, because I don't know that I want it to look like hearts. But what I really like, and what she might add more, is these splashes. It was 4 hours, and then she had another client coming in, and she hadn't, so we've got some splashes here, and I really like the way that looks right there. We might go in and do a little bit more detail. And I really like this purple color. It doesn't really show up anywhere else, and I was thinking of maybe adding some. I don't know. It's a work in progress. But yep, that is my knitting tattoo. I'm so excited to finally have it. And thank you everyone for saying it's pretty. I'm excited about it. I do. I want to keep going, but I don't know. I mean, because the yarn starts here. This is the working end, and it wouldn't make any sense for the yarn to pick back up. So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's okay. I mean, you rarely see this part of my arm anywhere though. And again, in most of the videos and when I wear sleeves, you can't see the yarn ball at all. But it was exciting. I came up with it, and I found the artist before I went on my trip, and I spent my entire trip being like, I can't wait to get my tattoo. Another ball of yarn going to a work in progress. See, but then what would that work be? See, this is where I run into problems. And I've wanted a knitting tattoo for at least a decade. And this is where I run into problems, because it's like, so should it have cables? Should it have lace? Should it have color work? Should it be one of my own designs? Should it be somebody else's design? What is a work in progress? How is it going to look? I just end up spiraling trying to figure out what I wanted. But this, when I looked at the artist, and she had done something else that was this line art with the watercolor behind it. It was actually a set of paw prints. It was like for somebody's dog, and I was like, it occurred to me, oh, yarn ball, it was the first time it ever like I had the idea, and I'm like, that is what I want. So it just takes time. A swatch. Choke wants me to do a swatch. That would be hilarious. There are so many funny things that I could do, but I don't know if I want to joke. Something funny on it is fairly permanent. But yeah, second ball by the first and have the yarn go all the way up your neck. I don't know about my neck. I'm not I'm not doing. I think I'm gonna keep it all below. I'm not a huge fan of sheep. Jenna, that is a good idea, a multicolor sheep attached to the yarn ball, but I'm not a sheep person. I do want a bunny tattoo. I love bunnies, and I've had pet bunnies, and and on my list is a bunny tattoo. But sheep are not on my list. The Japanese cat holding the ball of yarn. No, not your name. Not your name joke. A different joke. More different joke. The American joke. I am a Swatch person. I don't know. I'm gonna, I'm gonna let it rest for a while because tattoos aren't cheap, but also they don't tickle. They hurt. They can hurt sometimes. So I think I'm gonna chill with this until I get a better idea. But I do like it. I do like the cat though. That's what I have in my thing is the Nico with the see, one of them has a skein of yarn and one of them, and then this one has the fat ball and this one has a round ball. So these little guys are super cute. Ooh, Angora rabbit. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, see, Tracy, letting it rest. I need to let it rest. It's gotta percolate. It's gotta think about it. Hello, Maritza. Maritza's Yarn and Crafts. Hola, ¿cómo estás? I don't know about my logo, Darlene. I don't know about my logo. I don't know that I'm that attached to it, but I really appreciate everyone being enthusiastic about the tattoo. I don't know. Sometimes you get a little bit of stink eye. Actually, it was really funny. Susan might remember this story. One time we were at TNNA, which is the National Needlework Association, and Susan and I were there together. And we walked up and sat down at a table that had 3 other like yarn store owners, because that's yarn store owners go to this event to find yarn stores as stuff to do. And as we said hello and we sat down because there was a sharing a table kind of situation. And the 3 ladies were having this conversation about how inappropriate it was. And they were really being catty about someone who had visible tattoos and saying some really judgy kind of stuff. It's really catty. And it's funny because I was sitting there with Susan and I do have another visible tattoo, but it's on my leg. So it was under the table. And we had another employee at the store who had 2 forearm tattoos. Susan didn't care. Everybody has their own creative expression, but these ladies, and it was just funny. And then we had a surface conversation with them. They left, and I looked at Susan. I'm like, I wonder what they think in our store. Because it's just interesting that there's still people who are kind of judgy about it, but it is what it is. The skein is that's an interesting. It hurts, Arnetta. It hurts. It does not tickle. Karen, did you not see my tattoo? There's my tattoo. There it is. It's very bright. It has pretty colors. Hi, Ruthie. Noodles. I don't know. I can't eat noodles anymore. I can't eat wheat anymore. But I do like other things. But I do like noodles. A rib tattoo. That was a choice. That was definitely a choice. A rib tattoo is fairly a fairly aggressive choice. I have a lower back tattoo that dates to when I was 19 years old. So it predates lower back tattoos being more common. I have a leg tattoo, and now I have this one, and they kind of are addictive. I like color. So I really like color tattoos. I mean, I love looking at the black and white tattoos, but the thing is I am so very white. My skin is nearly translucent. And there are so many people who can't get brightly colored tattoos because of their skin tone. I figured I should probably take advantage of the fact that my skin is essentially transparent to get brightly colored tattoos because they work really well. And actually, when the tattoo artist was working on me, she was like, "Yeah, your skin takes color really well." I'm like, "That's because I'm a vampire." I knew Neko was in there. Maneki Neko. Yeah, that's why it's so, believe it or not, sunshine, here in the United States, you see those little cat guys, the Manikinikos, in all kinds of stores, both Japanese and Chinese. They're absolutely everywhere. And I'm a big fan of them. I've always liked them. And that's why my son bought me one. And this was given to me by the ceramic one was given to me by a good friend, um, that we really like Japanese stuff. What are you laughing your butt off about, Darlene? I didn't say I was a scary vampire. I'm just like, I'm just that's one of the things. I quit wearing foundation. Like when I was younger, I wore makeup, but the only like makeup company that made a foundation that was pale enough for me was Clinique, and they had a very very pale, that worked fine for me. It was really liquid, and then they discontinued it, and I could never find. I gave up on trying to find another foundation that I could have used because they don't come in vampire because I'm very pale. I'm very pale with like a pink undertone, and it's just very Sergio, vampire skin tone is like I don't go outside. But the crazy thing is on the other side, I have all the freckles. I have all the freckles on my arms, on my legs. I don't really have well, I do have freckles on my face. They're not as much as on my arms, but I got a lot of arm freckles. Yeah, alabaster. Yeah, I'm looking for the dead body foundation because it's just looks so white. See, my father was a dermatologist, so I was always discouraged from makeup in the first place. And I have not worn makeup for so long. The odds of me putting on makeup again, very, very low, very low. Um, Literally, the last time I wore makeup was before my son was born. When no, he was under 1 years old, so it was 17 years ago, and I was in somebody's wedding, and I'm like, I will put on makeup for your wedding. And what I did is I went to like a department store and had them do the makeup like testing thing that they give you the little free bag for. That was it. I'm like, yay, free makeup, because I did not. I'm like, I'm not, and then I ended up throwing it away. But yeah, that was 17 years ago was the last time I wore makeup. And prior to that would have been my own wedding in 2000. So I'm just not a makeup person. Um, oh, me explaining my skin palette. That's where you're laughing. This what color I am, man. Um, Makeup cuts into your knitting time. Excellent. You know what? And okay, Sarah Joe, no reason to wear it if you don't want to each their own. I 100% agree. If you want to do whatever level of makeup you want to use, you use it. If it makes you feel good, if you enjoy it, if it's fun, I don't have any problem with makeup. I don't care how much makeup you wear in any direction. I just don't wear it because I'm lazy. And I can't be bothered. Is the same reason why I quit wearing contacts moons ago, because it just takes a level of effort that, but I say that, but you pick and choose what you like. I put all this time into my hair. I put a lot of time into my hair. You do what you like, and I can't stand people who are going to be judgy about someone who wears a lot of makeup, and I can't stand it when people are judgy about when people don't wear a lot of makeup. It's your face. It's your life. If you want to spend money on that, if you want to spend time on that, that is what you want to do. If you want to spend time and money on yarn and knitting, that's what you want to do. If you want to spend time and money on exploring the wilderness, do what you want to do. So we only get the one life, and it's short, and we need to do what's fun and enjoyable and what brings us joy and eat all the food. Laziness for the win. Tinted lotion. Now, I do think the tinted, and actually, I really, living where I live, I should really probably look into the tinted sunscreen, because that would probably be a healthier option for me. But the solution I've chosen for that is just don't go outside. So that's a choice that I have made, is the no outside part. I go out. I mean, I go out about once a day. I go for a walk on it almost daily, but I don't go outside a lot, especially when it's hot. Um, Judgment-free zone, exactly. We don't want judginess. We don't want judginess. We don't want um sunshine. Sunshine, that is so very, very kind. And if I am able to go to Japan and you are still a member of this community, I would be absolutely wonderful to meet you. I want to go to Tokyo. I want to go to Osaka. I want to go to Hokkaido. I want to go everywhere. My husband spends a lot of time watching this one YouTuber guy who travels and reviews the trains, the Japanese trains, and it's all with captions. He doesn't really speak, and he goes on the trains and he goes on the ferries, and he is fascinated by that. So it's dude, YouTube is like traveling the world, but it makes me want to really, really do it. Yes, Ruthie, somebody said yarn. Okay. So we've been here for about an hour and 20 minutes, which is where should be wrapping it up. Um, So will my next podcast on be on the 29th. So I don't know if we should try to do, because I'm not doing videos on Thursday anymore, which is why we're doing this on Sunday. But especially since the 29th is leap day, that might be fun. Again, we got to figure out, maybe I'll start a poll in the Facebook group if Sunday worked, or if we should have a traveling, like something that moves. Because if it's not on the 29th, it would be on the 25th, because that's the last Sunday. Yes, I mean the yes, I mean the Shinkansen, or however it's pronounced. Yes, the bullet trains. They're very, very cool. He loves those. He watches videos on them. Um but so it's, you live in Tokyo. Very cool. That is so cool. I watch a lot of I watch a lot of Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese, and Thai television. I have apps on my phone that let me watch them, and it's like I know Tokyo. I mean, I watch them, and you know, when they go through Tokyo, and I want to go to. I want to go to 7-Eleven. I really want to go to 7-Eleven in Tokyo because 7-Eleven is supposed to be awesome in Japan. So, Paula, we talked about this a little bit. There's a plus and minus. Something that moves will help, like I'll hit more targets, like more people might have the opportunity, but if it moves, people might not know when it's going to happen, so it can lead to confusion as to when it's going to be. It's one of the reasons why I used to keep it every Thursday, and now I'm switching. I used for 5 years, I released a video every Thursday, but I wanted to switch it up because YouTube analytics told me that most of my viewers are online on Sundays. They said Sunday is the best day for me to post. So I switched to Sunday. but I'm going to consistently, so people know that Sunday is when my new videos come up. And that's why I changed so I'm afraid that if I do it Sunday this month and Thursday next month, and then whatever day the next month, people won't, because honestly, we have had, I've been watching the numbers, and we've had substantially fewer viewers on Sunday than we typically would get on Thursday. So we might need to move back to Thursday, or find a better day. But I, I'm not complaining because I don't do this for the numbers. The only reason I'm looking at the numbers is because I want the most people who want to be here to be able to be here. But we maxed out at about 40, 45 people at any given time. And in the past, it was more in the 80 range. So there are obviously people that can't make it on Sunday. See, and Tracy said she likes the hard schedule. See that, yeah, I don't know why YouTube is not notifying people. I try my best. I always post in the Facebook group that it's going to happen. So if you're not in the Facebook group, that might be a helpful thing. You forgot it was Sunday. So you like Sunday? Sunday is fine. No boss. Thursday works. See, we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. Does anybody have any other knitting questions? We got very sidetracked. We did talk about cable needles, and that was good. And we talked about bulky yarn, so that was good. And we talked about not blocking, gauge swatches, so that was good. Sunday. So my golfer likes Sunday. I don't know. So I was just hoping that Sunday would be better for more people, but we'll find out. I don't know why you didn't get the thoughts on cotton yarn. What about it? It's awesome. Cotton yarn is amazing for its applications. It has its challenges as well. Cotton is a plant fiber. It has no like give. So a lot of people can find it challenging to work with because it puts additional strain on their hand because you're holding it under tension, whether you're knitting or crocheting with it. And when you hold like wool yarn or an animal fiber yarn under tension, there's a certain level of give to it. But if you're using cotton or silk for that matter, or linen, you're not getting any of that give, and it can put more strain on your hand. So it can make it so that you can't knit for as long of a stretch of time. Cotton also, because of this lack of stretchiness, cotton doesn't have any memory. So it doesn't fight to stay in its original shape. And it's a very heavy fiber. So there are certain things that it can cause, like garments can elongate when they are made out of cotton if the pattern isn't specifically designed for cotton. That's why you're going to see, if you have a garment that's designed for cotton, it's more likely going to be knit in pieces and seam together, because those seams are going to give it more structure and fight that thing. Or it's going to have there will be ways the designer will incorporate into design things to fight the negative tendencies of cotton. Having a really wide ribbing band around the waist to support and keep it from elongating, having a wider cuff on the arm so that it doesn't end up like this far beyond or down to the thighs. So all of those things there's a lot of considerations. Cotton doesn't behave like wool, and taking a cotton yarn and trying to use it in a pattern designed for wool is not always going to be successful if you don't understand how cotton is going to behave. But I love cotton. Cotton is a wonderful fiber. It is very light, as far as it's very, very breathable, and is really good for hot weather garments. It's can be very soft. It is durable. It is a plant fiber. So if you have any issues with animal fibers, it's much more hypoallergenic than an animal fiber can be. It does not take bright colors as well as your wools do, but that's more about the kind of dyes because they're two very different dyeing processes. It is possible to get beautiful color on cotton, but it's different. You're not going to get these really, really brilliant colors like we see a lot in the hand dyed wool yarns. But it can be also incredibly beautiful. So it just depends. Okay. You want to spin some cotton? Excellent joke. See, Jenna loves cotton. Cotton roll eggs. I don't even know what those are, but it sounds like fun. Yes, that is so. Arnetta says cotton yarn makes her hands tired. It's because it has no give. It's because you're holding it under tension and you get no relaxation. Silk does the same thing. If you try to work with 100% silk, I once did the thing where you take silk handkerchiefs and pull them and essentially spin them with your hands, and my hands hurt so bad. Yes, Ruthie is correct. Ruthie is correct. The blend tends to soften the effect. Okay, Sunshine is asking me what I would like to buy at a Japanese 7-Eleven. Apparently, what I need to buy at a Japanese 7-Eleven is an egg sandwich. They have sandwiches. So in the United States, Sunshine, 7-Eleven is not someplace you would go for food. We don't have like 7-Eleven has like chips and snacks, and that's about it. And the videos I've seen on YouTube of people going into Japanese 7-Elevens and the incredibly wide variety of food choices and onigiri and just all kinds of delicious things that you can then microwave and stuff. It's just I'm a big food person, and I just think they look. You can like have a decent meal out of a seven. From what I've seen, you can have like a decent meal out of a 7-Eleven in Japan. A 7-Eleven in here in the United States, you can get a bag of chips and a slushie, and that's about it when you get your gas. So it's just absolutely fascinating to me. Okay. So Jenna, I am allergic to non-superwash wool. Usually manufacturers label superwash yarn. Lately, some companies say a yarn with some wool content is washable, but do not say the wool part is superwash. Any information? That is really interesting. I don't have any information on that, Jenna. And honestly, at that point, I would contact the manufacturer, because that is strange. If it's not labeled superwash, but it does say it's washable, I don't know. I don't know. That is really strange. Good night, Darlene. Okay, so I answered your cotton question, Sarah Joe. If you have more cotton questions, feel free to ask in the Facebook or in the comments of any of the videos. That is really strange. If it doesn't say superwash, I would not assume it's superwash. It might be that the yarn is washable because they feel that the wool content is low enough that it's not going to be a problem. But I contact the manufacturer or don't assume, because I'm one of these, especially if you're dealing with an allergy, I'm always going to err on the conservative side there. Would not want you to get itchy or have any reaction to that. Cotton, silk, polyester is all I can handle. Anything else causes flare-ups, so I have to make cotton work. Yeah. That was how about Jenna, how about linen? Have you tried linen? Or linen or flax? Hemp. You can find linen and hemp yarns as well, and those are nice. Croy. Sock yarn. Croy is not a yarn I have a lot of familiarity with because it is very much a sock yarn. I don't do socks. But yeah, I would check the label and that kind of stuff. That's worse? Oh my goodness. Linen is good. That's great. Wait a minute. Viscose, yes. Bamboo and polyester, love it. Now, bamboo though, bamboo is stretchy, 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 stretchy. When you block bamboo, it goes, it is a hot mess. You gotta be really careful swatching with bamboo yarns, because they just go all over the place. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Fibromyalgia is a bear. Um, yeah, linen is not smooth. Linen is not smooth at all. Yes, if smooth is what you need. Have you tried Tencel? Tencel is very, very smooth. And you can get some really pretty Tencel. What is the name? I don't know if Susan is still here. What does that company that makes the vegan yarn still exist? What was her name? What is its name? Trailhood. Trailhood? Trailhead. Um, Here it is. So Trailhead Yarns, they have a website. Did they quit making yarn, or have they just not pulled their website down? Oh yeah, 2022. They haven't. Dang it. There was a really great company called Trailhead Yarns that did only vegan yarns and had some really nice options, but they only do embroidery threads anymore. Ah, that sucks. Um, I Do I have any designs for linen blends? I do. I do. But I think it's a linen wool blend. The thing is that most of cuz since I do shawls, they're pretty flexible when it comes to what kind of fibers you can use. What's Cito? So this one was a lace weight that used a silk linen blend. So that used a silk linen blend. Really pretty yarn. I have one that was designed in 100% silk. This is Susuro. Susuro is got wool. It's wool silk linen. But you could definitely just do wool and silk. You could definitely just do silk linen on that. A lot of them you could definitely do with linen. I really like linen. Linen has a great drape when it's blocked fairly aggressively. I think that's 100% silk. Yeah, that's 100% silk. Ooh, sea algae silk. So Joke sells sea algae silk. That is really, really cool. Okay, and so Susan is saying there's a weaving company that makes a beautiful tencel. So, but tencel is really smooth and it is vegan. Yes, Knitting for Olive has a silk based. I need yarn that has linen. I have 6 patterns that have linen in them. I don't know. I could only think of a couple. Well, Elizabeth knows better than me, man. I wonder what else has linen in it. Huh. I do love linen. Is pretty. But again, most of my patterns are shawls, and most of them would work just fine in linen. The only thing I would avoid is the ones that have the color work in them. Linen is probably not going to be your best bet because of the way it doesn't. Since it's linen, it doesn't like fluff, and it's not going to give you what you're looking for in the color work. But any of my just straight up lace or anything that's non color work, it should work just fine. I do have that. I even know where that is, Joke. I just never knit with it. I'm easily distracted. um yes. That is a complicated Ravelry. Me. Me. I'm clicking all the me's. Okay, where would I find fiber. There we go. Huh. Now we're going to find out because I was curious. What else has linen in it? Oh, okay. So the Manos didn't even occur to me of the Manos one. That Manos pattern is Serena, and that's a really, really nice yarn. Perseverance has linen in it. I forgot about that. No. Yeah, okay. So yeah, there are a few patterns I have. This one's actually really good. This is a Ravelry link. I've been doing my own website, but this is a Ravelry link. I want to warn anyone who, if you don't do Ravelry, don't click that link. You can find that on my website. That is the Fins is like a long scarf. It's a summer weight scarf. I was designing summer weight scarves, so I like summer weight scarves. But Fins, that is Juniper Moon Zoe. It's a really fun yarn. Cotton Linen Flax is a really nice yarn. And that's lightweight because it was supposed to be a summer weight. It's a decorative scarf. The Knit Picks, this is in a Knit Picks yarn. The Lindy chain, I don't know if it still exists, but that is really interesting because it's a cotton linen blend and it's in a chainette construction, and that one was really fun to work with. It looks like it is still, yes, it is still in manufacture. So that lacy pinstripe cowlette, which I just linked, the Lindy chain. So the cowlette, I'm just showing it to you. That is only in my book right now. It is not published as a single pattern, but that Lindy chain, that cotton linen blend in the chainette is a really, really fun yarn to work with. It fights the heaviness of a plant fiber by using a very unique yarn structure, and that's the chainette construction. So that is a fun thing to do. Japanese yen is a little cheaper. We could, oh, it would be so fun to buy. Actually, I'd probably do way more damage in the Japanese stationery stores than the knitting stores. It's just, I love all the little, Japanese has fun. Japanese, you know what? I just love going to other countries. I didn't know I did until I started, and now I just want to go to all the countries because they all have their own unique characters and absolutely beautiful things that they excel at. Oh my gosh! I got to show you guys. I can't believe I forgot. Y'all. I went to Bali and I went on an arts and crafts tour, and we went to a place where they do batik. And we watched people do batik, and then I bought. Are you ready? Look at this. So excited. This is 100% silk, hand batik piece. Isn't it beautiful? You guys, y'all would appreciate it. Look at this. I know y'all appreciate it. I don't know. My mom was like, look at that. Look at that work. I'm just being quiet so y'all can look at it. Oops. My camera is being weird. It doesn't like it when I get too close. Isn't this absolutely beautiful? I'm so excited about this. I'll put it on her. It's not going to focus now, but it's just so it hangs nicely. I was so excited to buy that. It is a piece of art, and that's why I bought it. It is just gorgeous, and I bought it because it was a piece of art. It is a piece of fiber art, and I got to show this to I got to show it to Laura. I bet Laura would like it. Laura is one of the lovely people I used to work with at A Good Yarn, and she does dyeing and things like that. And I think it would think, hang on, let me get the other thing. Hang on. Woo, hang on. Raj, yes. Could you bring me the Aboriginal painting, please? Yeah, where is it? It's in the front. Okay. By the clock. Okay. I had to send my husband to get something. He will be here momentarily. You won't get to see him, but he will bring me something. Yes, the amount of time, I can't even imagine, especially with how many different colors there are. But here's the other. So I bought, thank you. I bought 2 pieces of art that are just, it's art for art's sake. This will never get worn. It is beautiful. I got this batik in Bali, and then I got this. This is a piece of Aboriginal artwork painted from the Dreamtime. The artist's name is Anna Tilmuth. I got this in Darwin. And this is not a print. This is I think it's acrylic, but it's a stretched on linen, and there is no up or down to it. But yeah, I was really floored. We went into several galleries, and we went to a museum, and I was floored by the Aboriginal art. It is just absolutely mesmerizing, beautiful, and so many different kinds, so many different looks. But the dots. Oh, see, my camera doesn't like it when I get too close. It wigs out. So those are the 2 pieces of art that I bought on my trip. I didn't buy a lot on my trip, but I hopefully bought things that were really significant to me. Oh, you have some original Aboriginal. Yes, the original Aboriginal art. It was just really beautiful. And there were some I wish I could have gotten. There was one gallery we went into, and they were huge, and it's just absolutely amazing. So many beautiful pieces, but you have limited space to get at home, and limited funds to purchase things. But okay. So I think, yes. So I'm so excited about this thing. I love it so much. And I got another piece, but it's not this level. I got a simpler piece that maybe is wearable. So thank you so much for tuning in. I think we're going to look at, I'll decide fairly quickly and let everybody know if we're going to do Thursday, because it's the 29th, or do the last Sunday of February. But good night, Ruthie. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you can always ask in the comments of any video or on Facebook or however you want to do it. And I really appreciate y'all joining me. Thank you so very much. It was good to see everyone. So many names I recognize, and I really appreciate. Yes, thank you, Susan, for coming and having fun, and Arnetta and Joke and everybody. Thank you, Sarah Jo and Elizabeth. Really appreciate you coming and chatting with me, because it's super fun. And and thank you, Sunshine. I am so glad that you joined us, and hopefully you can manage it next time, and hopefully I'll get to Japan. It would be awesome. Okay, yes, Tracy and Jenna, it's great to see you. Okay, I'm gonna have to hit the end stream, and okay, y'all, I will see you later. Have a wonderful new week. Did I push the button? Come on.